So the next video I want to do, Angel video, is on my mother-in-law, Cheryl. I'm divorced from her daughter, but she'll always be my mother-in-law. Um, I got pawned off to, I was at my grandparents', I was down in Eugene, and I was messing up, and, Leslie was living there too, and so I got pawned off on my mom and Larry up in Bremerton, and, I go to live with them, and they live next door to Cheryl, and, you know, Misty and I start up, and, why you didn't, have me arrested, Cheryl. You should have. Misty was underage. I appreciate that you didn't, but oh man, I made your life hell, Cheryl. I apologize. I'm sorry. I've never made amends to you in AA. You make a list of people you've hurt, and I, didn't make amends to you. And I'm sorry, and for the hell I put you through. Like, one time I went out with a friend, and we drank a fifth of tequila. I drank probably half of a fifth of Cuervo Gold, and I mean, I blacked out, and I have one kind of memory of that night, and that was being in our garage. Anyway, I'll get back to that, that story. But God, I made your life a living hell, and I'm sorry that I did that. Misty and we ended up moving down to Oregon. She was still underage. I think she was 16. God, John. We got an apartment in Eugene. We made a life. She was working, I was working. Interesting times, wasn't it, Misty? Wendy's. Just anyway. I ended up, eventually, I ended up getting her pregnant, and my family tried to help me out and get me into school, and they moved me into this, or set me up. They turned me on. I ended up moving into this co-op. It was the Janet K. Smith House in Eugene, and it was, students get together and you just buy in, and it was like $400 a month or something, and that was included food and everything. And Misty, she's pregnant, and I've got my room, and she's living in the basement of this place. My room was in the basement too, and I always felt bad because they were doing construction and stuff, and they were, painting and varnish and lacquer, and she, had those chemicals, man. She was kind of exposed to them and slept down in there, and it's like, man, she ended up in a getting help from the state of Oregon, and she had Alicia. I think, I want to say we were living in Portland, outside of Portland, and Alicia was born in Vancouver. If I got that wrong, I mean, and let me see. She moved. She was at that house, and then she moved in with Jeannie Smith, and I ended up at Jeannie Smith's also, and lived there for a month or two. I mean, we ended up getting kicked out, but Misty had Alicia, January 25th, 1982, and I love this because January 25th was my parents' anniversary. And, I remember telling my mom that, bringing it to her attention, and she was mad, man. She did, wasn't happy about that. Anyway, it was like I was putting her down or something, that, she wasn't. Anyway, that's another interesting thing is that, Elena, when she was born in 90, she was born on January 26th. I always thought that was interesting. Hope it didn't take too much away from you, Alicia, being like that. Anyway, Cheryl, Misty and I eventually got married. You can do the math. January 25th, we got married March 5th. And, one of the things, I mean, Cheryl, I think the first thing, after, you can kiss the bride, and then you turn and you greet everybody or whatever. When Cheryl walked up to me, she welcomed me to the family, and after everything I'd done with her, she, maybe she's just like her mom. She has that forgiveness in her. Just, I get sober, and things turn around. I mean, it's like, obviously, I get my act together, and I'm, raising a family, and I'm being, responsible father, husband, adult. God, I hate being an adult. I didn't want to grow up. I wanted to go play with Peter Pan all my life. And, we go up and visit, and, Cheryl and I, we get along great. I love you, Cheryl. You're a great lady. asked me about if when Misty asked me, "Did you ever see her?" And you better not have. Anyway, Elena happens, and at the time when Elena happened, August of '91, Alicia was up visiting Cheryl, and you guys packed your camper, and I mean, you guys hit the road immediately. Interesting thing. I mean, every year that Elena comes, her anniversary of her death comes around, it's something different. It's different, and you know, it's been 32 years since Elena drowned, and like 5 or 6 years ago, it hit me. What did Alicia go through that day? And I finally asked her, and she said, that they got the call, they load up the camper, they're hitting the road, and she said it was like Olympia before they told her what had happened, that Elena had drowned, and they were heading south. And I mean, it just was interesting because I'd never really just, God, you're so wrapped up in yourself and your own grief and all that crap. And then, to like, what did you go through? And I got to talk to her, and I got to, she told me what happened and her feelings of that. And, you know, um, oh man, first holidays, first everything, man. It's just, God, it's horrible getting through the first of everything. Um, so that Thanksgiving in '91, Cheryl invited us up for Thanksgiving, and we went up. We went up to for at her house, and I remember sitting there watching TV in the living room, and she just like just pampered me. I mean, I'd get up, go get a cup of coffee, man, and she, no, John, I'll get it, and she, I wasn't used to having another woman. I mean, Misty, take care of me, she'd look after me, and but to have another woman do it, and she pampered me the whole time I was there, Thanksgiving. And it sucked because I went to my mom's for Christmas. We went to my mom's and get there Christmas Eve. And my mom, she told me when Elena died, they came down, she said, people will act badly because they don't know how to act. And, there were people that don't know how to act, and did treat us badly. But man, my mom and Larry were the worst ones of the bunch, of treating us badly. My mom had absolutely no compassion. Even when I moved up here, and, I'm talking to her about Elena in that first year and stuff, and she had no compassion about where we were. And, we were in the wrong that Christmas. It just was horrible. I wish we'd had the money to just, leave and go get a hotel Christmas Eve, spend Christmas in a hotel. That's, thanks a lot, Mom. My family, I talked about my family. And to compare those two, Cheryl, you were more of a mother in the time that I knew you than my mom ever was in my whole life. And that, I, your mother-in-law, you're supposed to be, but I don't know, you made me feel, warm and welcome, and just, at ease. And, it's just, you had the compassion and the understanding of where your daughter and I were at, at that time. God, that sucked. Yeah, that was the worst year of my life, I think. Anything bad happens to me, it will not ever be as bad as Elena. There's nothing. You can't do anything to me that would be as bad as Elena. Um, I got sober, finally, 2 years later, I finally got sober, and I told my part one of my path to God with Polly, Cheryl's mom. And, um, I wanted to not ever have you guys think of me the way that I led myself, or, acted, and the way you thought of me, and should think of me. And, I got my act together. I remember when Alicia was born, standing in, it was, I want to say it was like a closet or something, but it wasn't. But there was a window, and I'm looking out over the city of Portland, and maybe it was Vancouver, whatever. The river was there, and I'm telling Alicia, I make a promise to you that I'll be the best father that I can be. And 2 years later, I did actually act on that and get sober. And I wanted to prove myself to Polly. I wanted to prove myself to you, Cheryl. I mean, that was really important to me. Alicia, when I, said that, it's like I grew up. I mean, I stopped being a teenager and became a young man, like got serious. And I'll finish the story of my blackout. So, I drink this, probably half of that bottle, a quarter of that fifth, and I end up in Cheryl's basement. Um, she catches me. I think I was disrobed partially, and she's going, "Get this kid out of my house." I mean, she was royal, just like, ripped me apart. Just and you know, so she gets me dressed and marches me home. And the only thing I remember was that refrigerator, that freezer. But you know, 25 years later, I'm sober 20 years in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm talking with Cheryl one time, and she tells me the story of what happened that night, and I didn't know. I mean, that blackout, you come to from a blackout. I had my snow boots on for whatever reason. It wasn't, God, and they were these big, bulky, clumpy, and you wouldn't wear them, and my jaw was just, oh, it was really sore. And Cheryl tells me that she got me home. I mean, she's getting me home, and I go in there, and I'm a really angry alcoholic. I got a lot of stuff buried. I was really not a good drunk. And my anger is coming out, and she said I was standing in front of Larry, my stepdad, and just saying, "Hit me, effer, hit me," and he did. And I mean, I think he cracked my jaw when I got up the next day, man. My jaw was sore. Oh God. I mean, and to come out of a blackout, and you don't want to ask what happened. What'd you do? Because you're gonna find out. You don't want to know what you did. And she immediately goes, "Oh my God, I got to get this kid out of here." And she drags me back to her house, and saved my life, probably. Um, I think it's funny because, I mean, not funny, haha, but years later, Peter was 16, and him and Larry got in a fight, and he broke Larry's leg. And it's like, anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. But she like, God, man, I got to protect this kid, and she did. And maybe she just realized how messed up my family was. And anyway, Cheryl, like I said, you were more of a mother in the time I knew you than my mom ever was. And I will always treasure that, that relationship. I said in the description of one of my videos, my grandma Grigri and Madeline were the two only women I trusted in my life. And I'd say, Cheryl, I trust you. There are three. There's probably going to come up more women that I do trust, but I would trust you, Cheryl. It was on my heart. I wanted to talk about you. Just say, hey, you weren't your mom. None of us were your mom. Oh God, we survived that. Anyway, sitting at the casino. It's Monday, the 4th of September, and Monday is free $5 senior slot play. You only have to be 55, so. And I have a free $5 gas coupon, or whatever thing I got from the gas station. I got $10 in free play. I'm gonna go see if maybe they'll buy me dinner tonight. Anyway, I wanted to share that. Cheryl, you're a special woman in my life. Thank you for being patient, and anyway, many blessings to you all.